1985. 3 kids rode faster and faster down the street. Their hearts were beating in their chests and their butts were off the seat. They were laughing as the streetlights were shining in their face, and they were having the time of their lives as they continued to race. It was already 9, but their parents didn't mind, because they're kids and it's okay to be outside. And then they got home and took out the games and played till midnight, free from their restraints. Their restraints on freedom, a freedom to live, a freedom to have fun, a freedom to be a kid. What a day, what a night, this is what kids should be. Now let's fast forward just a bit to 2017. 2017, there's a pool party on the last day of school. The chairs are all full, but there's no one in the pool. Every kid is kind of laughing, but not at one of their friends, at some picture they saw on their phone. The sun is shining bright, but luckily they didn't cover their eyes with their towels, and when the sunlight does hit their phones in their eyes, all they do is scowl. How can someone stare at a piece of metal instead of living in the right now? Think about it. It doesn't make sense. Pictures of people you care about versus people you care about. Pictures of roses versus real roses. Pictures of the sunrise versus the real sunrise. You spend your whole time scrolling, and when you're not scrolling, you're working. Everywhere you go, it's consuming you, and you don't even notice. Be a kid, that's what they say. Well, they're right. There's no temptation to fight. Because why is looking at a picture of something better than seeing it? People tell me because it's more relaxing. That's a bunch of shit. Never go on your phone is a little strong. Of course, use your phone. But when you're dying, you won't remember looking at that picture alone. No, you'll remember the human experience, the sweet smell of the breeze, biking with your friends, and hiding in the trees. You won't remember spending 4 hours alone on a Sunday. You'll remember going to your park with your friends and having the best day. Light is so much bigger than a small piece of metal, but somehow we ignore the beauty around us, and we settle. We settle for looking at a piece of metal instead of going outside and seeing the beauty all around us. Right now, there's a 3-year-old kid on his tablet in a restaurant because his mom wanted him to shut up. Right now, there's an 8-year-old looking at pictures of war, terrorism, and violence on his phone. Right now, there's a boy suffering from depression. So to cope, he does what he always does, goes on his phone. But what happens when that boy sees that comment on Instagram that kills him inside? He thinks about taking his own life. And what happens when that boy dies because someone decided to say something mean on a piece of metal? Well, I'll tell you what, if that boy didn't have to use his phone to cope his whole life, and that kid didn't say something mean on Instagram but in person, he might have been able to deal with it and still be alive today. So don't you see, phones make people feel alone. And for every single picture you look at, you could be with that person. For every text you write, you could be actually laughing, and actually crying, and actually living, instead of writing LOL. So don't you see? Everyone around me and everyone in the world has let this control their lives. For every hour after hour. Zzz. But guess what? For every zzz, you could be crying. For every zzz, you could be laughing. For every zzz, you could be experiencing. But that zzz takes your life away. The biggest problems in the world. Abortion, immigration, racism, all over social media. So you go on and read the comments like an encyclopedia, and you keep writing and writing, and write your own long comment. But your old friend is over in the corner, crying. The pictures, these apps, these games, these comments have made us believe that we alone must face the biggest picture. But if we all face the littlest picture, if we all face our own friend over in the corner crying, then the big problems would be easy to face. The love of the world would not be dying. So, don't you see? Can't you even see? Get off your phone and look at the sky or the trees, because you only live here once and that livelihood spreads, not by some app, but by a thread. A thread of a helping hand, a thread of love, a thread of wisdom and knowledge and some grace, some hope, some compassion, some living. So next time you go on your phone and get mad about what someone said on their piece of metal, think about that friend that needs a visit. Think about life. What is it? What really is it? It's not sitting inside on a beautiful day, and it's not typing something angrily that you didn't want to say. And it's definitely not sitting inside alone, hours and hours in such a great big world on that little old phone. So the human experience is too much to sacrifice. The moments that you live in your life, from your first kiss to seeing the stars, spending hours with your grandma and just talking. It's too much to give up for Instagram and Twitter. It's too much to give up for that bundle of wires and circuits. So, the human experience is too much to give up for that small little piece of metal. We don't know why, but we revolve our world around this small piece of metal. And we revolve around a small piece of metal, and it's normal to overthink and get mad about comments. It's normal to absorb the modern overheated thought, and we don't think about the simple truth. We don't think about how phones teach us to overanalyze and not to recognize, not to see the world's beauty, but to absorb all its mutiny. Updates, apps, games, and metal. 4 things that will never let your heart travel. Travel from person to person in the world, instead of having your head buried in that little old phone. So, dance like nobody's watching. Absorb the sunlight, but dance in the rain. Just smile, just live, just enjoy life. So life is too precious to spend hours alone, stuck in your room, away from all the beauty. And when you finally decide to look up from your phone, it's too late. Life has passed you by.